In this video, I'd like to talk a little bit about the pieces that came along with the Wimshurst machine kit that you will be using in this. So what I'd like to start off with are the 4 bearings. Of all the pieces, they are likely something that you'll be able to find along around the house or somewhere. The bearings, not so much. These bearings were real cheap. I got them off of Amazon, but you could get them anywhere. If you adjust the 3D print file, you may be able to get away with different size bearings or no bearings at all. But these ones in particular, if you aren't getting the kit, is 17 millimeter for an outer diameter, 6 millimeter for an interior diameter, and 6 millimeter thick. With the thickness, there's a little bit of wiggle room, but the 3D print is designed to fit the outer and inner diameters pretty much exactly. In addition, you're going to need 2 rubber bands. These rubber bands, if you put them straight, have about 3-inch half length, so it's not the actual diameter, but 3 inches long. You'll be able to trial and error these rubber bands a little bit, or just use the ones from the kit. There's also a 32-inch uninsulated 24 gauge wire. This wire was picked because it's nice and flexible, but still has enough structure to where we'll be able to wrap it around things pretty easily. And you need 32 inches of it. There's a little wiggle room in that. If you go as low as 30, you'll probably be fine. If you go higher than that, you'll also totally be fine. The next part that you will be using is thicker, heavier wire. This was wire I found in my house when I was doing a renovation. I believe it's 12 gauge. Looking at my notes, yeah, 12 gauge, and you need about 25 inches of it. Again, there's a little wiggle room in there, but 25 inches will do good. You do want this to be insulated. There are parts where we're going to be stripping off significant insulation, but there are parts that need insulation, so you'll want that. Technically, you can get away with uninsulated, but it is much easier if it is insulated. Last is you'll need about 2 or 3 feet of aluminum foil. This aluminum foil that I'm using is 12-inch aluminum foil, but really anything that's at least 7 inches should be plenty. You'll just need more of it that way. But this is just regular aluminum foil. You can use any brand, any type. It doesn't have to be from a 250 square foot box. This is just what I had in my house. So those are the disposable parts. These are the parts that are actually going into the kit, into the Wimshurst machine that you will not be getting back. They are used in this. Some things where you are not going to be using the whole of it, and these are things that are not included with the kit. Let's move some of these out of the way. First thing, electrical tape. You're going to need some electrical tape. Really any non-conductive tape, but electrical tape is probably best for this. You are going to want sandpaper, although it's not 100% necessary to use sandpaper in this. It does make things a little easier. So grabbing some sandpaper will be nice if the 3D print isn't fitting exactly, or if you're trying to glue something and the glue isn't adhering, sandpaper will help. Other things, you're going to want some sort of all-purpose glue. This is just regular old white glue that you would use in elementary school, but you could also use stick glue. That would be just fine. And last, another one that's not 100% necessary, but does make your life a little easier, is super glue. I recommend using super glue if you're planning on having this machine be 100% together all the time. If you are planning on taking it apart, then don't use the super glue. But if you're not planning on taking it apart, then use the super glue and it will help keep things sturdy. Right. Next, I want to talk about the tools. Again, unfortunately, the tools are not something I'm providing, but some of these you can cheat a little bit. First thing on there, you're going to need wire strippers, because we've got insulated wire that needs to be uninsulated in some parts. Honestly, if you get the uninsulated wire, technically you don't need wire strippers, but again, I recommend the insulated wire. You also need wire cutters, which this also does. And last, in this part, you're going to need pliers. Pliers just make it a little easier to bend the thicker copper wire. Although, technically, you could probably get away without using it, although I would recommend getting some pliers. I actually will likely use these wire cutters, just because I like them a little better, and these pliers, again, because I like them a little better, but any pliers, wire stripper, and wire cutter will work just fine. Last, for tools, you're going to need some way of cutting and shaping the aluminum foil. Scissors will work just fine. I actually, if you can get your hands on it, recommend a scalpel. You can usually find these at a craft store. Scissors will work just fine, or some sort of blade, even maybe a box cutter, but I like the dexterity that you can get out of a scalpel, especially with some of the cuts we're going to be making. They're round cuts, and they're going to be a little harder to do with scissors. So those are the tools. Last for this video, I'd like to talk about the jigs. The jigs are parts that are used to make parts. So these are things that are not actually used in the Wimshurst machine itself. They are 3D printed tools, and this will come in the kit, and you will receive an STL file for it if you are looking at this online. The first set, these are all used to make the conductive plates. I usually call this the small wheel, the large wheel, and the spokes. These 3 jigs are used to cut the aluminum foil, and so hopefully you can see, since they're rounded surfaces, why I recommend using scalpel. But scissors will work just fine. So that's one set of jigs. Another set of jigs is this guy right here. This little column is used to wrap the foil for the internal layer of the Leyden jar. For the external layer of the Leyden jar, which we'll talk about what a Leyden jar is in a little bit, the tube itself, this will actually be a component used in the Wimshurst machine, but you can also use this as a jig to make the outside layer of the foil, because this is where the foil is going to go, and they made it removable for that reason. Also, it helps with shipping. The last jig is to make the static pickups, the brushes that pick up the static electricity and put them and insert it into the Leyden jar. This bit right here is it's double-sided, and it can be also used to straighten your wire a little bit. This is designed to make the, unfortunately, pretty precise bends with the thicker gauge wire. I designed this because I wanted the Wimshurst machine to be able to be made by anyone, especially people who don't have crafting or metalworking experience or a small tool experience. So this will make that a lot easier, making the bends a lot more precise. I'll walk you through how to use it later on.